Hey guys, welcome back to another iteration of the MyHeroAcademia manga chapter reads. The newest chapter being number 418. I'm here with Mark.
Hi.
And Mark, before we do the what's it, there's something I would like to do. Little quick plug-in for everybody. If you guys are interested, we have a series called Quirk Concepts. We're at number 7 right now, and we're just looking to get some input as far as people's ideas for quirks and just kind of make that an ongoing thing. It's definitely like user supported. So if you guys would feel free to like check that out after the video, then we'd greatly appreciate that. But Mark, before we jump into the new chapter, what do we usually do?
Recap episode!
Yes, we have the recap episode. 417, right? It's been like 2 weeks since that. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead.
Off on that.
Yeah. It was crazy too, because it really was actually what we're actually going to read right now. So obviously we make a breakthrough into the All for One space, and everyone's just watching, having to just kind of deal with the circumstances here. And that's what we get, a bit of Nana like support here, or coverage, and or I guess screen time in this case. And it's just her in the One for All space. Everyone else gone, even like the initial user is gone. It's just her and Deku. And it's now those two facing the flashback that would then create a Shigaraki. So it's very interesting because you see Deku going like transitioning to like his different clothes from the past as he goes into the residence. He runs in there. He opens the door and he sees. We get a little bit of imagery as far as, and almost like stimulus from all these different villains that have interacted with Shigaraki. From like initially it was like Dabi, the other one. Oh my god, why am I forgetting her name? It's been a while. I apologize, everybody. It's been 2 weeks. That's my excuse. It's also my reason of always having like the wiki like pulled up, except for today. I like how, well, actually that's like part of my like viewage history, but TLDR, a lot of the villains have been shown, and we transition over to I believe it's the backyard, where unfortunately we see little Shigaraki getting smacked, and unfortunately this is the first time that Nana has to see this. And this is the same like little kid who's doing the assault here that she had to abandon essentially because of her duties as a user of One for All.
She didn't think this would happen.
Yeah. I'm also just gonna scroll it over here. There we go. We have Deku rushing over just see if he can try to stop them, but there's a wall right there. It looks like they're waiting for like the pivotal moment where the dad here is just telling that, like, grandmother, or at least that ain't your grandma. That person right there is a monster. And it's like, it's so sad because she's right there. She has to witness all of that. So while she's having to deal with those circumstances, she knows what she's got to do. So right before the final, like, strike, both Deku and Nana rush in, intercept, like, the respective person. And it's shown as like that's like passing the quirk over to Shigaraki as a means to fight the insides of All for One. Unfortunately, though, as we transgress to like I guess a middle schooler Midoriya, we look over and we see little Shigaraki, and we have oh no,
Mon.
We have Mon the corgi
trying to comfort him.
Yeah. And that usually has boded to something really bad.
Horribly painful.
And so now we jump into 418 and see what exactly is going to happen next. At this
he kept
that should be a fairly good indication as to what's to happen. But I like to point out as we look at the front page of 418 that this is crazy now that we're seeing Deku like at this stage, because now he's for all we know he's now just quirkless. Back to like middle school days quirkless too, and oh geez, Whatever he has to face now,
Why?
he's at a huge disadvantage. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the first page. Again, Deku looking out to little Shigaraki here, holding on to Mon. And he just says, I hate everyone. Number 418, Meek Spirits. This is Deku in his thoughts. It's the same thing I sensed back in Gunga. Or, I actually read that, and I almost thought Gungaga.
Gungaga.
All for one, me, Goo Goo Gaga.
Gungaga.
Oh, there we go. So he senses this. He immediately tries to like rush forward. He's like, Shiga!
Too
And
late.
yeah, you see like something happening at that like part where he's touching Mon.
Why?
Yeah. He's triggering the decay. And I don't know what's happening like the bottommost. It just looks like just parts of like the imagery, this dream sequence is just like breaking apart now. Oh geez, dude. All right. So the next page here. Oh no. So that's exactly where Mon was. Actually, you know what? It's interesting how they depict it because it almost looks like buildings and whatnot, like or like part of like some kind of structures collapsed, but that really is just Mon right there.
Because it's just turned into a pile of goop. It's just dust.
I see. So that's
Why?
that's
He
literally
was a
just like
good
blood, and that's
boy.
like bits and pieces like a Mon. That's also following the decay.
He was a good boy. Why?
Yeah, but Deku has to witness all this, and Shigaraki's like, Mon, this has to be, says Deku. The first time he used his decay
Him
quirk
in
emerged. His hand, Shigaraki's hand, covered in blood as it just like drools out. The sister comes from behind. Tenko, so Deku's like looking behind. Oh God, I see where this is headed. What happened next is at the core of it all. And it's still like little Shigaraki's like, and yeah, the sister's like, and then like Shigaraki's like,
He's hyperventilating.
and he's like, I think he really just reaching out to his sister right now, just for
Like,
just
help me, help
for
me.
comfort, for help.
It's because he didn't. What happened to Mon was an accident.
Yeah, he's honestly sad. He's also confused. He's panicked,
Yeah, he's hyperventilating. He's freaking the fuck out.
and intercepting like that contact is little kid Deku now.
Which is wild.
Playground Deku. As he, sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling through with this little time monitor here. Gotta end this now. So he grabs some hand-to-hand contact, which is a really big bad thing to do. But we get a little bit of monologuing here, or inner thoughts here. A realm where memory materializes. Visualize it. Picture yourself not letting go of him, but you see little Deku's hand, like skin kind of peeling off a little bit. And you're like, ugh. So, I guess what his idea is that materialize your hand. Keep remembering those hands, he says. All of one for all. As Shigaru's like, why has been smashed against him? Yeah, and Deku's like really struggling now. Let's see, where am I at here? Did you want to take the next two, or?
Yeah, I can do these next three.
Oh, okay.
But Izuku, the last piece to hit him with is me. We see Izuku as he's still holding on, tears coming from his eyes, because I saw you crying. Then we see Tenko looking just distraught. No, all wrong. I did this. I chose this. Izuku's like, ugh. A huge surge of Tenko's emotions. We see him say, it was my choice to destroy this house and my family. Otherwise, what's the point of these hands? Him again, as he looks just completely distraught. Who else would ever validate my existence, given the way I am? That's so sad.
Mm.
And we see Izuku, his inner thoughts, thinking with Nana as well. Him at his most delicate and malleable, or malleable. I'm getting rejected. Izuku, I'm getting rejected. No, don't let go. On the one hand, powerful hatred and catharsis weighed against grief and confusion. Tenko is still wavering on the edge at this point. Here's because he's grieving what just happened. He's
Right.
also very confused and angry and upset.
Mm.
Go to the next page.
Oh no. Hey,
They're
continue.
still facing off. He's still holding him off. He says, as this is Tenko, he says, "Get your hands off of me!" As he remembers being on the streets when no one would help him. We see that little old lady right there. I'm assuming this might be Shigaraki. I think this might be Izuku's thoughts. Maybe there's no other way besides killing. And I don't know what I'm gonna do when the time comes. Others, what is this? It says right here. I think it's Izuku saying this. Others have reached out. We see this massive rush. The hatred, it's cracking. It's happening. To take my hand and give me peace.
Ah, I remember that shot.
Here you go. You're up.
Yeah. Shigaraki's losing a lot of the fight here. And he cuts back to Deku. That's why I am here. Bro? Bro? Dude. In this like, this is a beautiful shot, by the way, of just like bits of that decay just like going back to Shigaraki's way. But unfortunately, you see Deku's like arms decayed.
His arms just exploded.
Yeah. No,
although it hasn't spread, so that's good.
That's true. Sorry, I'm trying to reset everything here. It's not wanting to cooperate. I'll just bring this over to another page right here. There we go. Oh, actually, no, that's it. I expected the bottommost panel to actually have a little bit more, but no, it looks like I don't know I'm not sure what's going on. It's transitioning over to another place. Looks like a playground of sorts. You hear a little bit of laughter in the background. Oh no. Oh
Hello,
no! Oh no! Hold on, guys. I'll read it out. But
get your tissues.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's the playground. This is Tenko playing with a couple friends of his, Mikun and Tomo. You should be All Might 10, his nickname. He smiles, but it's doesn't last too long. See the time ticking, that little general clock in the playground. Tenko looks off to the distance. I think this is him. 'Cause I'm a villain. I fight in the name of evil to destroy. It's now the same shot of Tenko and Deku right as they left off, still in that space, the dream space. So we have like decayed Deku arms here. But in the background, we see the League of Villains just looking out to him. Just scroll down here to the next panel. Doesn't matter if you stamp out my hatred, even if I wind up hollow. Next page here. Oh, is a big panel. 2-pager. The villains, Shigaraki says, need a hero of their own.
So he's saying like it doesn't. So he says even if he just becomes hollow and he abandons all of it, he said he still needs to be a hero for those he's made these bonds with.
I see. What's going on here? I'll take these two here. What is going on here? We are like a little tiny corner here of a panel. This dude's right here. I'm not sure what he's looking at. He might be looking at a trash bin of sorts, but he just says, "Kill that kid." And I'm like, what the? Then we cut over to probably the same guy even. Sounds like he's just like probably at home, computer. Crush, he says. This whole rotten world. Destroy it all. Tomura Shigaraki. Oh. Oh. Oh, I'm trying to get like a shot of what's going on here now. The next
finger thing is crumbling away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is exactly where the fingers were. The fingers are crumbling away. We can't see Midoriya in there. In the next panel is just a bit of static.
I got this.
Okay.
Mr. Shimura, as we see Nana's son.
Oh, okay.
Ah, you're with Koga Construction, right? Shigaraki looks shocked, like, let me see. How's the old lumbago? He said, what the heck? What the hell? A little worse every year. I'll tell you. Can I recommend a decent doctor? Thanks, but it's not. It's really not worth the trouble.
What is going
What is
on?
this memory?
Mm.
As we see him again. We see Shimura again. He says, "Oh sure, the little guy's a handful. How about his quirk? No, nothing yet. I don't get it. Not Tenko's memory. Who the hell is this?"
Oh. Next page. Bro.
Oh,
Bro.
we see the face of the. I'm assuming this would be the vestige of All for One.
Yeah, considering you don't see any eyes. Just
and
mouth.
He's swallowing Shigaraki as Izuku's getting thrown back. Such a foolish vessel. Losing in a battle of wills to some kid. To this absolute nobody. We see Izuku as he's falling, looking like, what the fuck? Striving for strength, yet invariably weak. Tenko Shimura, you pathetic imbecile. We see him looking monstrous up here, like this gigantic All for One. Not once in your pitiful life has any choice been your own.
To be continued. Oh no, dude.
Bro. I called this so long ago. I swear. I think this is like backing up my theory.
And what was that theory again?
Decay was not his original quirk. It was given to him by All for One.
Oh no.
This man's been fucking his life since day one.
Oh no. So you're saying that Mr. Shimura here actually made a deal.
No, you see, he said not yet. He doesn't know anything about his quirk. So I'm just like,
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like, so you're thinking that maybe, well, I don't know, because it doesn't. I'm looking at that. Obviously, we're all just like theorizing on it right now, but I'm thinking like, what would be the reason why Mr. Shimura? And I would, if we're going with that, I would make that assumption that like Shimura would want to do something for like Tenko at that point in order to support that. But at the same time, why would he do that if he doesn't like his mom? So I'm just like, this is interesting.
Just 1 second, gotta do something real quick.
Oh, okay, all right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'll keep thinking. This is, oh, dude. This means that All for One really is that dude. All for One was really that dude. And Tenko, sorry, has been played like a fiddle this entire time. Nothing has been like his choice. His dreams, aspirations are only just like a byproduct of just existing. Otherwise, All for One had this all planned out for him. What's gonna be crazy is what we can imagine the next like chapter could be. And I'll tell you right now, I just checked. It's gonna be like a whole week. But the fact of the matter is that we're still fighting in that All for One space. So, I mean, if it's an issue of like Deku trying to fight like in the dreamscape, then he could probably just kind of materialize his arms back, right? Like we could just probably just not think about that too much. But how are you going to fight against now? Now Shigaraki broken down in this one. We can assume that he's kind of broken down to the point where he wouldn't really want to fight back per se, right? But he is at a point where I guess at the same time he's accepted the idea that like he's a hero for the villains, that he's evil, but he isn't absolutely rejecting what Deku's trying to do at the same time. So he's kind of in the gray area right now, but definitely All for One is trying to like reel him back and take him over. Because at the end of the day, like that's probably what's going to happen. And the fight's going to continue in the All for One space. This does allow things to kind of go like super imaginary. So I kind of like where they're going with it as far as like the possible outcomes. In a strict like fist to fist, yeah, Deku's not going to win right now. But this does potentially create like a really cool message in the fact that like even when powerless, or at least if you feel powerless, to fight together like in the group, that type of thing, you can overcome anything, including like the biggest bad of bads. So I'm imagining a sequence where a lot of people and a lot of their quirks will make a comeback in this like a weird materialized state for the time being, and see if they can fight against, you know, All for One, if it's going to be one of those like big boss type of things where it's like you're fighting All for One mountain. That's why I'm kind of thinking they would probably go in that direction. I think that'd be a cool sequence, but if it's all just like emotional stuff, then you're going to have to figure out how to change All for One if that's the case, which I do not think that's going to happen. But yeah, no, I think it provides a good opportunity to show like a cast of characters one last time for one last bout. But I got to give it to Deku for just pushing it. He like really is sacrificing everything. So similar to like the ending for the one of the My Hero movies prior to the most recent one, I believe, and someone where like they're on the island and they're fighting against what was the guy's name? Six? I don't know. He was like another prototype for like All for One, and Deku had to pass on One for All, I guess canonically, for a temporary like bit with Bakugo. So that was weird, but I guess that's also canon too. But yeah, no, it's crazy over there. Also Toga, that name just like really flashed before me like right now. I don't know why I forgot about Toga's name. I'm trying to check for comments as well. There's a couple of them over here. But yeah, it looks like we're really going to the very end of this. So we're waiting on Mark for any last finishing thoughts. And yeah, I think what I'll go ahead and do, I'm going to go and do a quick pause, and then we'll jump over to when he's actually readily available. All right, we're back, everybody. Mark, what are your thoughts about like this chapter?
Oh, I get what Horikoshi was going with the first part. You still got to have something happen so Izuku could get a grasp of the situation, but it still hurts.
Yeah, at least Deku now has the final like understanding of like this is probably how it all transpired, and it just spiraled down going forward.
Poor Mon.
Justice for Mon, not here though.
I mean, I'm glad the rest of his family is safe, but why couldn't Mon also be safe?
I'm not sure. Well, I don't think he kind of there was a weird instance where like his entire family was part of like the Fingers. So in that case, like they got resurrected in a certain way, but then they were gone. But yeah, otherwise they're gone.
Very disgusting and horrific way, but
yeah, I don't think I'd want that for Mon. To be honest, I think Mon has lived and died as he was. Just a faithful little pup, through and through.
True, he was the best boy.
Truly.
And this entire chapter is emotional. It's a very emotional chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Like Izuku, I think that's been his most impactful ever since Eri. I think this has been his most impactful "I am here" he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think when he saved Eri and when he's trying to save Tenko right now. I think these have been his most impactful I am here's.
Mm-hmm.
And this, like I said before, I think this is only cementing my theory. I do not think Shigaraki's quirk was decay.
That he could have been like pretty much quirkless or just something else.
Yes, either quirkless or something else. Because the way, especially that last line, not once in your pitiful life has any choice been your own.
Mm.
That wording right there makes me think that this quirk was not originally his.
Yeah,
It's like all for one had this set up.
I guess so. Considering the fact that it's
He also knew her son.
yeah, I would say
So,
because you have to remember that Nana actively left the family
and who
in
knows
order
how
to
much
like
he even.
yeah. So he may have like dug up something.
Yeah, and not only that, who knows what he's been telling him?
Yeah. Oh. So I mean, it could be one of those things where like yeah, she left them, but what else has he been feeding?
Like, yeah, like how much into this despair has he been making sure that Mr. Shimura feels?
Mm-hmm.
But this is
Yeah, you think that in that memory, that like you're looking at Mr. Shimura, the person talking, might as well been like all for one.
yeah. I think it's pretty much guaranteed that that is all for one.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Just
think about
casual
it, who else?
conversations, picking up like things in the family. How about
Yeah, it's
his
like who
quirk? Nothing
who
yet.
else who else could it be?
Man, dude.
I thought that's the only option of who it could be because think about it. It's not Tenko's memory. All the other vestiges are gone.
That's true. Unless
It's
it's not Nana's memory, so it'd have to have been like. I guess at that point it has to be all for one's memory as
because he did
he's
have
searching up. Yeah.
because he
Okay.
did
Okay.
have a remember he did have a copy of himself in Shigaraki
Embedded.
that
Yeah.
Shigaraki overpowered. But
Hmm.
but it looks now like he's starting to take that power back because he's wavering.
Yeah. He's like weakening as well. That's
So that
I think you're really right on the money there.
I think that this has all from the jump been all for one having a massive hate boner for the users of One for All.
I mean, I think it's always been like that, but he took it a step further. He saw Nana taking a last stand for like her disciple, and he took that personally,
And I took that personally.
and he decided to take revenge on the entire Shimura family, and then use it.
And then use it for his own gain.
And then
Piece of shit.
yeah, and then it cuts back to you think about it, and it cuts back to when he actually unveils that to like All Might, where it's like, yeah, Shigaraki's actually Tenko Shimura, like your master's like grandson, and he's like, what the fuck, dude?
That's where I'm like, I think this has all been a plan.
Yeah, he's been cooking on that.
I think that because he's also got those tendrils. Like he could have used
Mm,
that to slide the cork to him at any point.
that's true. At any moment, and like honestly, he's gotten pretty close with Mr. Shimura right here, to a point where he could like literally just touch that baby and be like, there we go.
No, we wait.
And yeah, it really was. He wasn't even there after that. He was just like, all right, seed's been planted. I'll see that located in like maybe like 10 or 12
Man
years.
literally just made a time bomb.
Yeah. I mean, it could have happened like that too. Obviously, yeah, you pass on the quirk and, they should be able to use it immediately, whether they can control it or not. But in that case, it was just kind of like sitting there for a little bit. Same ways, not really. It's the same way as like Lady Gaunt's like little like time bomb like quirk, where like if any,
This is
well, I guess a remote bombing
unbelievable.
quirk, yeah, it's yeah,
This man is a monster.
Yeah. Horikoshi has this opportunity and this advantage having essentially a mystery character like All for One, not knowing the full scope of everything he's done to be able to pull something like that at any moment. The idea that there's this guy who has so many contingency plans for everything.
And now we're seeing that. Now we try to show like, oh, this guy, he's been having these plans for a minute now.
Yeah, to a point where like even when like his original body is gone because he knows that, the next one just shows up.
He knows he's not immortal.
So while the other one's me goo gaga, the other one's like, you have not even conceived how
the last of me.
That's true. He can't get away with this. But he keeps getting away with it.
All that's left is his vestige inside of Shigaraki. It's the last thing he has. Bakugo finished off his physical body.
Yeah. I was saying while you were gone that this builds up a really cool potential like last fight with a lot of characters who are otherwise gone as far as like their quirk usage and possibly like passed on. Right. I guess except for like Star, maybe except for Star because like her quirk is probably already gone. But I was thinking this is a possibility of like seeing everybody, Hawks included, like literally
Bakugo too.
Possibly. Well, it could be.
He did see All Might's vestige.
I'm
just saying, because you remember, he did see All Might's vestige before he took out All for One.
Yeah. I was just thinking like anything that's actively like in the like Shigaraki's like All for One space. So I imagine like all the users are still fighting there, so the users can like materialize themselves in this final fight. And Deku's over here, he's still fighting out there, even though he's like quirkless. Unless they did something really cool where it's like, okay, well we're still in this space, so since you guys are so connected, you joined hands, maybe we can like temporarily like be passed back to you. Unless, actually no, that requires Shigaraki's help then, because it's his now. I don't know.
It's like, honestly, who knows? And there's so much that could still happen but I do feel like we are very much approaching the end.
This is the end.
Like I said, like I think at this point we probably have, I want to 15 more chapters at most.
I was gonna say like maybe like 10, but 15 actually does sound pretty realistic if they want to space it out a little bit more.
Like I'd say 15 at the most. I could be wrong. It could be less. It could be more. But I feel like it's at least that much left.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like Deku. Don't even worry about like no hands. He could probably materialize that back. Otherwise, he has. We could possibly see like all the users. Possibly anything else that's left in like All for One's like court that he doesn't have control over. Versus Mount All for One. Some weird fantasy battle like that.
I'm still waiting because there's a couple things we still need to see. We need to see what happened with Aizawa.
Oh, sure.
We need to see what happened with Chisaki. Because Izuku did say he would help him. So I'm very, very curious to see if he will come in this end in some way.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about like Aizawa's like side of the story as well. That wasn't really quite resolved. But I don't know. This is the fight of fights now. So
Like,
I mean, we could probably see like next chapter is just kind of like here's what actually happened for poor little Tenko and how he came to be, unknowing of everything.
If it's my theory,
yeah, All for One just kind of squirming his way into the family and just like laying the trap.
Makes the most sense right now.
Because otherwise, we were talking about the fact that like the decay quirk doesn't really make sense in that family. Like how did?
His father's quirkless.
Yeah, so like it right, and the fact is that Nana like gave birth, so like obviously she's not passing on like one for all, but you know part of her float quirk I mean, that could get translated into like passing things down, but otherwise you can't really make that and decay
maybe,
like correlate like that.
maybe it could skip a generation. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, the decay quirk has been unnatural, and we haven't really quite questioned that until now. And you're like, oh yeah, and you know what?
Well, now that we think about it, how did that happen?
Yeah, who's the original person for decay?
That's why I was like I don't know if you remember me. I don't know. You don't remember me saying it, but like I did a while ago. I said that I think the reason Shigaraki ended up this way was all his fault. I think
Possibly.
it was this evil mastermind plan. A new body, a way to get back at those he hates.
He would totally do that. And originally, when it showed him, it felt like it was just kind of happenstance. Like it was just Shigaraki, or Tenko at this point, roaming the streets, no place to go, and it just so happens that All for One's like right there to take him in and like train him that way.
So conveniently.
So convenient, bro. It makes sense now. Now I'm backing the theory up. It's like there's that's way too coincidental. Like that had to have all been laid out.
I took you in. I'm helping you.
I've been helping you. I'm part of the family now. Crazy, dude.
You can see that look on Shigaraki's face. That look of what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
He had that look of
Like
wait a minute.
I don't remember this.
I think he just realized this motherfucker. It was him the entire time.
That's true. And honestly, you know, we've seen all the memories and everything like that, and it's visually like just cut off at that point.
Like,
so
bro,
what are these new memories just like just happening to come in? And it's got to be like from All for One surfacing up.
Shigaraki, if you're ever gonna use your hatred, use your hatred against that man.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what?
But he's been suppressing it. Yeah.
Your life would have been normal and happy probably if it wasn't for him.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, the best way you can do it right now, considering that like all the One for Alls quirks are there fighting, even like the self regeneration stuff. Shigaraku would probably see it that the best course of action is to decay himself, and that could be the way to go, unless they can stop, you know, All for One like once for all, like squash that like aspect like of Shigaraki there, and Shigaraki could live, but that's tough.
It's like you saw Shigaraki said like even if he was to just let go of it all, he still feels like because of the bonds he made with the League of Villains, he feels like he has to be their hero.
Yeah, I like that interpretation.
A sense of responsibility almost.
Yeah, I kind of like that, like as part of his reasoning. So he's become a hero that he always wanted to be, but it's kind of for a different type of like organization and group of people. Which, you know what, I think that can be kind of valid, like from his perspective. Obviously, Deku wants him to like turn good and reform him, and that still is pending. We just have to deal with this guy now.
And look, because there's I swear, like I'm wondering how Shigaraki is gonna feel once he gets, or I guess let's just say Tenko now. Like we're wondering how Tenko is gonna feel once he realizes, because so far it looks like they are confirming this.
Mm-hmm.
It was never you. You have been used your entire life.
That could obviously warp that and be like, oh. That's actually a big hint in like this chapter too. Like he was questioning or even trying to validate like his life given this quirk. He truly believes that's his quirk. But
he
now
thinks like he couldn't think of any reason of like you know to validate anything because obviously like it's clear that he feels terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he had to convince himself in order to cope.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking back at some of the stuff here. It was my choice to destroy this house, my family. Otherwise, what are the point of these hands? Who else would ever validate my existence given the way I am? And like you just see All for One just giving the biggest smirk. He's like, it's me. I'm the validation.
That's where I was like, bro. And that, like I said, we saw how disgruntled his father was. I was like, bro, what if?
And you know, like he honestly, obviously this is kind of like an outside like viewpoint of like Mr. Shimura at this point, but he looks all right. Looks
I know,
pretty cheerful.
In those last couple, he didn't look nearly like he always was. He looked kind of happy.
Yeah, instead of like, "Urgh." And you know, it could be one of those, yeah, gurgling all the time, but it could be one of those things where like, kind of like I don't want to say toxic coworker, but let's just say the toxic coworker slowly feeding and like giving a lot of these negative emotions and thoughts, stray thoughts over to Shimura, and that becomes projected onto the child.
We know that All For One is clearly a sociopath.
That's true, and you know, obviously there could be a bit of like trauma for like Shimura on this on the fault of, you know, Nana not being there for him. But obviously he's coped with it now. But what if All For One, being like the D-bag that he is, tries to surface that and like redirects that towards, you know, what could possibly be Tenko in the future? So feeding the seeds there. It's crazy, dude. TLDR, he's definitely plotted all of this, all for schemes, all for vengeance. But yeah. All right, Mark, we're going to go ahead and call it. We're kind of going a little long on this one, but anything else you'd like to add before we go ahead and call?
No, I think we've touched upon all of it. I think we have so much to talk about because this is such a this is like, oh, there's
a lot of reveals.
A lot of reveals and implications from this.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Because there's a lot.
Also, this is always a minor thing, but when they always like do something with like the gaps in like the pages, because obviously there's the panels and there's like the spaces between them to kind of show them as comic dividers. The way that they show like the flashback was also really cool too. They've done it before, but this is like really cool regardless. Just further illustrating that like this is not like a normal like sequence of events happening. This is definitely like some kind of weird memory space that doesn't exist normally, but we're still seeing it regardless. To kind of feel the same as Shigaraki, like, what is all this? I don't get it. But yes. All right, guys. That's going to be it for us. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Feel free to like and share and also subscribe for more other releases for the manga reads, as well as possible core concept videos. But yeah, we'll call it here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you guys in the next one. #bye, everybody.